Hi, it's Chris. In this video, we're going to be showing you how to install a food waste disposer under your kitchen sink. In fact, we're going to be installing this Frigidaire 1¼ horsepower food waste disposer. It does not require a whole lot of special tools, it just takes a little bit of your time. Keep in mind, if your machine needs to be repaired, it's usually simple enough to do it yourself. Visit partselect.com, enter your model number, and quickly find and order the part you need. So now that we've got everything unboxed and we're ready to start our installation, there's just a few things I want to go through as we get started. And the first thing is, this is a 14-pound waste disposer, and it's got a mount underneath attached to our sink. So this sink, which is typical, is a drop-in sink, and it rests on your countertop and it's secured from underneath so it doesn't move. But all the weight that goes in from having your dishes and the weight of the disposer is sitting on the counter, so there's really no issue. But if you happen to have an undermount sink, in which you typically see with the granite and Corian countertops now, the sinks are mounted from underneath. Now, some installers just glue them up in place, some of them have brackets, some of them put wood pieces to support them, but you'll want to check that out, because if you're adding 14 pounds additional to an under-counter sink, and you're going to wind up at some point possibly filling both sinks or your main sink with a load of dishes as well, that's a lot of weight. So you want to make sure that's secured so there's no chance that that undermount sink is going to break free and drop out onto the floor underneath. So to begin our install, there's a little bit of housekeeping we need to do. And that is open up the counter underneath where the sink is, where the disposer is going to be installed, and remove anything that's under there. Any pots, pans, cleaning solutions, whatever is under there, get it out of there so it's a nice clean area to work. The next thing you're going to want to do is turn off the water supply to the sink. The last thing you want to do is be on there with drains disconnected and trying to work, and somebody by mistake bumps the faucet and suddenly you got water everywhere. So now that we have everything cleaned out under here so we can work comfortably, we've got the taps turned off so there's no chance any water being turned on and it's getting wet while we're doing it. Now I just want to take the drain plug off here. So now that we got the water drained out, we put the cap back in place and just snug it up. So the next thing we're looking to do is to remove this section of pipe. So we're just going to loosen up the collars, because we need to remove this piece from the sink, because the disposer comes with another one that's going to go up in here. Now, you may have a single sink at home, you may have a dual. Your plumbing may be a little bit different, and you'll find in the instruction manual that it actually shows you the different type of single sink, double sink installations that you may be dealing with, and gives you some direction as to what you can do for that. So the next thing we want to do is remove this piece, and again, this just unthreads from the strainer basket on the top side of the sink. So this is the screw that we saw from down below, so we'll take that out of place, and then we'll just lift this strainer basket out along with the gasket, because the disposer comes with a new one that we'll be putting in. That's actually your basket and your mounting collar for the disposer itself. So now we've removed the basket strainer from the sink itself, as well as the coupler and the extension that runs over and tees into the rest of the sink, because this is a double sink. So now that's everything we need to get out of the way so that we can bring in the collar that comes with your Frigidaire food disposer that will mount into the sink next. So now we have everything removed from the sink that had to come out of the way in order for us to install the Frigidaire disposer. So let's take a look at exactly what we've got here. This is our disposer. It's going to be mounted in the sink in this direction with this drain opening facing the rest of the plumbing. It also has a fitting for where you can tie in your dishwasher if you like, and we'll talk about that a little later. But what we want to do now is to remove this collar from the disposer. And this is one of the really nice things that I like about these disposers, is the collar basically just rotates. This is the locking ring. We just rotate that till it's free, and now we can lift this collar up and we're free and clear of our disposer. So now we can move the disposer out of the way and we'll just be working with our collar assembly. So now to disassemble the collar so we have it ready for installation, we're just going to flip it over, taking a Phillips screwdriver, loosening off these mounting screws. With those out of the way, you can see that we have a locking snap ring here, this shiny guy. So we just want to lift him up out of position and pop him off. It's just that easy. Set him to one side, and now we're able to lift this mounting collar off. Now slide that supporting piece off as well. So this is the piece that we want to mount down into the sink. But before we just drop this in, we want to clean this area up a bit, and we want to put in some plumber's tape here to help make our gasket seal. And you can pick this up at any hardware store. And we're just going to set it down in here. Need a little bit more to finish it. So what this does is actually be able to provide a good water seal, because there's always, as smooth as these surfaces look, they can be a little wavy, and you just want to have this sealant to make up any difference there might be. So now we're now able to take our piece, bring it into place and just push it down. And now everything we're going to be doing is from the underside. So now we mounted the drain piece into the sink. So the three pieces we previously took off, we want to install from the underside of the sink. So this plate is going to go up against the sink itself. Our locking collar is going to go up into place underneath it. And then that silver locking ring, we're going to snap up into place, and that's going to hold all that together. Once that's done, we'll be using a screwdriver to tighten up these screws, and that's going to create the pressure to lock the basket we installed snugly into the sink and allow that plumbing tape to make a good tight seal. So now we want to bring our tension plate up into place. Now the locking nut, or locking flange. And now we just need to get this snap ring in place. So you can see it's a split ring. And all we're looking to do is just to snap it into place on this groove. So I just press one end into it, and then just start working my thumb around to push it up into place. It's just that easy. Let that drop down, and then I'll just snug up these screws. We'll just take our Phillips screwdriver and snug these down nice and tight. So these screws apply the pressure that actually lock this collar into place, so that we've got a good fixed solid surface to mount the waste disposer, as well as it keeps the tension on that plumber's putty that we put underneath, so we get a good watertight seal. So now that we have the collar installed underneath, there's something else I like to do at this point with these Frigidaire ones, is attach the magnetic collar. It's easier to do it now than after the disposer's up in place. It is shown in the instruction manual as something towards the tail end, but from my experience, it's much easier to do it right now. So now all we need to do to get the collar in place is to just slip it up in the bracket, slide it around, and now I just bring the two ends together and snap it into place. Just like that. It's just that easy. So now I'm just going to bring our disposer into position. So you can see it's basically going to be raised up, and we're going to secure it into place with the locking collar. But before that, we need to make sure that we have our plumbing lined up so that it can mount into here. So your disposer comes with an elbow that would mount here. Now this works great if you were single sink, just looking to go into your P-trap. But because this is a double sink, we need to have a piece of pipe that just goes straight. So we're going to take the elbow they gave us. We're going to remove this rubber seal. Now at my local hardware shop, I picked up a straight tail piece, and I'm just going to put this gasket on it. So now that I have that on, and this pipe will slip inside here. So I take that, I put the collar on it. We need to have our nut for securing it, plus the seal. Now I'm going to slide this as far in as I can. And this way I can bring the disposer up into place and then secure this pipe and then bolt the pipe right to the, with the mounting flange, right to the disposer. So now all I need to do is just basically raise the disposer up into place so that it couples to the flange, and then I'm just going to rotate the collar in order to lock it into place. So with the disposer hanging in place, which is great, I haven't tightened the locking ring yet. So now I just need to ensure that I have my seal lined up for that extension pipe I put in. Then put the 2 bolts in. That'll secure the flange to the disposer, and then tighten up this collar. So I have the back bolt already started, pulling the flange in. Secure the front one. So with their flange secured, now we just need to bring our plumbing nut into place, and we'll use our slip joint pliers to snug that up. And there we go. So now that we have everything mounted and lined up, just need to secure our locking collar, and I just use a small hammer and just tighten it up by tapping the collar. And there we go, nice and solid. So our installation is complete. The next thing we want to do is run some water through it and just do a leak check to make sure that we don't have anything with the plumbing where we've been working on it, that we don't have any leaks. And we're looking good. So now we can just close it up and give this a little test. So that's our Frigidaire Food Waste Disposer installed. You can see it didn't take any great amount of special tools, took a little bit of time, and really it's a Sunday afternoon project. So thanks very much for watching. We'll see you later.